So, why am I doing this? I started working on. I have ideas, a lot of ideas, but I need to actually start like conceptualizing what I want this game to be, what I want each of the characters to do, and everything like that. So, I feel like the biggest thing I need to get down is just kind of a base ground what I want, because I know what I want in my head and I've written it down in a couple places, but to actually draw like a visual guideline of it, I need to do. So let's get some colors going. I have 3 characters. These 3. We have Nacho, Apple, and Nita. Let me copy them. Her name was actually going to be Icy, but my friend pointed out that, like, I might run into some problems if I use a brand name like that, but that's okay. Granita is a frosted ice treat, which is similar to an Icy, but it's not much of a drink. It's more of like a spoon treat, so. But it works for her. Nita's a cute short name. So, so what I have in mind is I have 3 characters. We got Apple, they, them, got Nacho, he, him, and then Nita, who's she, her. And they're each going to have different abilities. I'm going to be working off of, like, inspiration from several platformers I played growing up. Kind of... My mind's gone in and out of several different things. Like, initially, I kind of wanted to have a duo thing where you pick a primary and a secondary character, and as you play those 2 characters, you could use the secondary character's abilities to help you get through obstacles, which would be a lot of fun. But my mindset's changed because I want them to each have really different play styles based on things that just sound fun to me. The biggest thing I want is fun. I want the gameplay to be fun. So what I have in mind is for Apple is going to be a speed-based character. He's the one with the little wings on their head. I gotta get used to saying they. He was he. Now they're they. It's besides the point. I liked the game. I don't have a story. Like, I've had several stories and I haven't really liked any of them much. I have more like ideas of how I want the game to go. So the story kind of keeps changing, but I have now a foundation of what I want the game to feel like and what I want it to look like. So story is coming. I have a theme. The theme is compromise. Each of these characters represents a different side of compromise. Apple is in the middle. They have firm beliefs, but they are willing to listen and to challenge their beliefs. Nacho is a free spirit. He will listen to almost anything anyone says. He is extremely gullible. And then Nita is extremely stubborn and refuses to listen to anyone. So it's like this circle of 3 different characters with 3 different, very intense perspectives when it comes to other people and other people's ideals. So Apple is the middle ground. They are pacifist. I don't really want combat in this game at all. Like, I've thought about it, but I don't think I want combat. I want it to just be platforming challenges. And so Apple is going to be the fast one. He's going to run. I've actually have a walk cycle for him already doodled up. So I got his little walk cycle. I have his little idle cycle like that. I haven't drawn either of the other 2s yet. But he runs. They run. Fast. Gotta go fast. But yeah, so their speed base, their levels are going to be a lot of like long areas, curving hills. So long areas, curving hills, and then like long leaps. Because they can get distance, but they can't get height. I do want to build on it more. I feel like a nice thing for them would to be a, like, either they'll have like a normal jump like that, or they'll have like a skid jump like that, where you can jump, but if you press the right buttons here, you can shoot yourself forward. Kind of what I'm thinking for them. I want them to be fast. I want them to have the most maybe not the most, but I want them to have a lot of interactions with their characters, where they're talking and they're kind of learning things and they're kind of building and developing. That's how I want Apple. Nacho. So Nacho is going to become almost an antagonist early on from the beginning, because the thing that's going to happen, the inciting incident, is Nacho's going to get himself into a situation. So Nacho, well, real quick, Nacho, flow with the guy. I want this boy to not only do I want him to like slingshot with his massive sleeves like this. So there's his feet. And then there's his little slingshot. It's going to be back and then shoot forward. But once he is forward, this boy I want to fly. I'm really thinking something like Knights-esque, where he's just kind of like fluttering through the air like that. And you can do like swirls and yeah, do like swirls. You can go through loop-de-loops. All of that. I want him to have very almost Knights-esque style of level design. That's what I'm thinking for him. That's kind of where I want to go with him. But because he is so gullible and so easy to talk into things, I want him to kind of run into an adversary and then start listening to this adversary and be like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, okay, I'll help you out. And so his mission starts where he kind of disappears from the other two, going off and doing something stupid. And so it's like you follow his whole gullible situation. And I wanted to sort of like show his inability to kind of like realize that he's being taken advantage of, at least until he starts picking up on the clues. He starts realizing what's happening, and I want his sort of story arc to be like realizing, oh, this is kind of my fault. So they're all gonna meet together eventually, but that's what I want the inciting incident is to be: Nacho being too gullible. Nita is going to be the complete opposite of that. She's very stubborn. She's very hard. She's not mean by any means. She's just very much believes she's right, you know? So with her, I want her gameplay to be revolved around going into the ground like a mole and digging in the ground. Like, I want this to be the ground, and she literally will leap into and go into the ground like this with her big claw arms. Like this. And so she's burrowing through the ground like this. And so with her being able to do that, like, she'll have some on ground, but she's going to be much faster underground. And what I'm thinking is like maybe like it'll be certain areas where you can tell like these are breakable, like maybe it'll be a grid or something like that, and so you know like she can annihilate and go through like that. But I want her to be able to do that and then to spring up almost like a dolphin out of the ground and then go straight back down into the ground like this. And so I kind of want to play with that, where you're getting overarching, and then underground there's going to be like secrets you can dig to and stuff like that. And that's kind of the idea I have for like each of their play styles. So I want each of them to feel very different, but to match like the core concept of who they are. So her stubbornness, she knows Nacho's getting in trouble, but she's refusing to accept help from people who can help her get to the point to help Nacho out. That's kind of where she is. And Apple's going to be right in the middle, right there trying to help both of them. And that's going to be kind of their story arc as far as their progression. And I kind of want Apple to just kind of be like in between the two. But I feel like they're going to have their own ideals. I gotta work on this story, because I've come up with like 3 or 5 different stories, ranging from originally it was going to be kind of a 3D RPG platformer in the veins of what's the one I'm thinking of? And, think Sonic Adventure. That's that kind of stuff, but, like, more of an RPG, and that you interact with characters more, and, it was gonna have a whole, like, Undertale-esque kind of, good and bad, and it was only one character, an unnamed character, and I couldn't figure out that story, and I ended up not liking it after a while. Then eventually I created these trio, and I liked Apple's design a lot, and I figured Apple was going to be the protagonist, and then the other 2 were going to be side characters. I don't want that anymore. I kind of want it to split apart. I'm thinking more like, I don't know, Sonic Heroes-esque with knights instead of, like, Tails flying mechanics, and, like, a whole new, like, digging mechanic. Make it, not like Dig Dug, but, like, a lot faster, And so I've been inspired recently, because I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. I like having 3 different characters, 3 different sides of the story, and how they all kind of interconnect. But recently I thought of something else, and this was inspired by the fact that I started getting into, like, the Sonic Adventure 2 games again. And it's like, that's the side game of Chow Garden is the incentive to keep going back to these stages and keep playing them over and over again. I would love there to be some kind of incentive like that. So I was thinking, I made this Shimiji a long time ago. Shimiji's the little desktop characters that'll, like, kind of crawl around your desktop and, like, sleep and stuff like that. They're cool. But, like, years and years ago, when I was a kid, I made one and I called it Skullet. And it's like this little skull guy. And he had just, like, the 3-pronged thing, and then he had little eyes, and then he's just, like, a little bone thing, and then he had little feet like this, and little hands like this. And I remember him, and I remember him really well, and I'm just like, why don't I do something, like, kind of like Chow related, where it's like you are going, whilst you're going through the progress, like, I'm thinking, because I started thinking about this, I want something like the Chow Garden, but I'm going to call it, like, Skullet Cove, something like that, Skullet Cove, or something, because they're little skull buddies, and the little skull buddies can have, like, different attributes and stuff, like, give them ears, give them a tail, I don't know, give him a little hat, I don't know, So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking how to start that is these 3, because they're all supposed to work together. And originally I was like, oh, they can work in a circus or something like that. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, all the characters in this game are based off of entertainer types. Like, if you look at my other concept arts, I have these are the country clowns, I call them, and then I also have some more of, like, the urban jesters, which is what I call these guys. They're the urban jesters. They have, like, an urban aesthetic, but mixed with gesture, like Renaissance or medieval clowns, you know. I also have, where are they? I have a couple others, you know, Hattrick, the rogue, what are they called? Rogue, reporters. Hattrick is a rogue reporter. And then I had, like, I thought I had it in here. At least the name, right? Hattrick, Triple Entertainers. I don't see it in here. That's weird. They were like, crap. They're mimes. They're like aquatic mimes. So they're like, they're gonna be like the patterns, the blacks and the whites, but they're also gonna have like diving suit aesthetics to them. Floral mimes. That they were like aquatic floral mimes. I also wanted to do like bards maybe, or I wanted to do like wrestlers, isn't it? But considering all the different character types are forms of entertainers, making one specific group entertainers that are also entertainers seems silly to me. So I'm going to skip that. They're still going to be urban jesters, but I'm thinking instead maybe where they work is they are in fact caretakers to Skullets. And so not only are they out here on an adventure, but while they're on their adventure, they can collect things, they can do things. I haven't decided the specifics, but they collect stuff and then they bring it back to their Skullet Cove, and then they can take care of the critters. I think maybe instead of this being a location, Cove is a like pocket dimension. Whoops, pocket dimension. You know? It's like a little separate thing. They bring it with them, but whilst they're out there on their journey, they still have to stop and be like, oh wait, I gotta take care of my little guys. I'll be right back. You do you, boo, and I'll do me. And so I think that's what I want to do. Something like that. Maybe I want to figure out a way to kind of like incorporate it into the story more, but I'm not sure exactly how yet. Writing is not exactly my strong suit. Creativity, developing, you know, concepting, stuff like that. Stuff I'm a little better at. But like actual writing a story and, you know, incorporating it, that's where I struggle a bit. You know, that and coding. I can't code for shit. But that's kind of, that's something I do got to work on. But that said, this is my basic premise. The basic game loop is inciting incident, Nacho's getting into trouble. These two are out to go and try and help them. Nita's trying to stop them. Apple's just trying to see what's going on. That's kind of the basic premise. They each have their own game style, gameplay style. I want to make each of them fun. That's going to be where the hardest part is making them fun. And then I kind of want their incentives to include they are also caretaking these little critters that, also, by the way, these are called Itbits. That's the species. They're called Itbits. But that's what this, like, species is called. And the different, like, styles of them, they're all Itbits. But the different styles of them, like the country clowns or the floral mimes or the rogue reporters, you know, all of those are just kind of like different cultures, I guess you can say. So they're just gonna have like their own different cultures. They're gonna live in their own different areas. I do have I do have like some ideas. Is this the one? So this is kind of what I was looking at. Oh yeah, I remember drawing this. This is kind of how I want the layout of ground to be, especially in areas. And then kind of a map idea. And then, yeah, I remember they're going to be up in a sky island at some point. Not the one I'm looking for, though. No. Did I? No. Well, there's a really poorly done floral mime. Do I have the... Is it in here, maybe? No, these are just drawings where I was working on the concepts. But what I do want is for like each location is going to have like a different feel to them. The country clowns area is going to be like hills and country land and like all kinds of like crops and stuff like that, and it's just going to be wide open, really bright, kind of a like late afternoon shine to it, maybe, you know. Then of course where these guys come from, it's going to be like a dense like sky island, and they come down from there. There's going to be like an underwater area that'll be where like the floral mimes are, but it's going to have like the top area where, you know, they are. So they each are going to have just kind of like their own areas, but, you know, there'll be a few different cultures within each one because, like, that's just how life is. People infiltrate different cultures all the time. So that's kind of what I want to do with that. I've doodled some. It's on a notebook. It's probably where it is. I have a notebook where I've doodled more character designs. I've doodled more of like landscape that I have in mind and stuff like that. And so, all in all, that's kind of where I'm at. As far as the big bad, that has also gone through like revision multiple times, and it's just like I can't settle on anything because nothing's like felt like right. It was only recently that I kind of figured this much out. So I have to kind of figure out how I can relate Skullet Cove and these guys' jobs to the ultimate big bad. How do I relate Skullet Cove to the big bad? Do I want this to be a high stakes story? Do I want it to be a low stakes story? Do I want it to be a low stakes story midway they discover it's a high stakes story? I'm not sure yet. There's kind of a... Having high stakes makes it more likely like a person's going to be engaged and be like, what's going to happen? What's going to go? But having lower stakes means like there's less pressure on the player and they're more doing it to just enjoy themselves, and especially when gameplay is like the main focus. So it's just, I gotta figure that out. I think the biggest reason I sat down right now is just to put this on the page, to look at it, and to be like, yeah, okay, this is what I'm going to work with. This is what I'm going for. I am not a coder. I am not a game developer. I am not a musician. I don't know how to do any of that. But I do know people who do. And the thing is, I want to have so much of like the concept work done. I want to have so much of like the character designs and the story and like all the artistic parts of it that I can do, I want to have done before I start seeing and seeking help from other people, because I don't want to be in a point where it's like I'm expecting somebody else to do work for me when they don't know where they're doing or what they're doing. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I think that's it. I think that's all the like premise stuff I have down. Now I'm going to have to go through, I'm going to have to like develop more ideas, develop kind of like concept art. Let me make a checklist. Let me take one of these. Let's take this. Actually, let me just turn this off and I can write it up here. I need to work on a checklist of things I'm going to work on next. Work on. So first I need to figure out the relation of job to game's goal theme. Because I want to work with that theme of compromise. The theme, let me go ahead and write that down over here. The theme is compromise. That is my theme. The theme is compromise. So I need to relate what they're doing to the game's goal and to the theme. I need to work on main antagonists. What are their goals and their principles? Are they bad, or are they just perceived as bad? I don't know. I need to work on I need to work on concepting locations. I need to work on the Skullet concept and how in-depth that's going to be. What are the purposes of the Skullets? Their purpose, use, and depth. Okay. What else? I need to see. This is why you gotta sit down and think about these things. Because man, if I didn't sit and think about this, I didn't do any of this, I would have just sat forever not doing anything at all. So let's see. So the school concept, I need to do their purpose, their use, their depth. I had to figure out that. I got to figure out what the inciting incident is, but that's going to kind of... I got to take both of these, relate to inciting incident. And I think that's a good place to start. That's what I need to work on next. Relation of the job to the game's goal and its theme. I gotta work on the main protagonists, their goals and principles. I need to concept the different locations. I need to concept what school it is, what they are, what their purpose is, their use, their depth. And then I need to relate the inciting incident to their job and how it relates to the main protagonist. Those are my next main goals when it comes to figuring out what to do with this. So I think that's a good place to stop this video. I think the biggest reason I made this into a video is just so I can hold myself accountable to it. Kind of throw my ideas out there, see... You know, nobody will probably watch this. Doesn't matter. It still makes me hold myself accountable to it. So that's kind of why I did this. It's mostly just like pushing myself to get my ideas out there so that I can be like, okay, this is what I've shown. This is what I need to do, and all of that. So hopefully next time if there is a next time. I don't know if I'll post more progress of this, but this is just where I am. But if there's a next time, I will have done at least some of these bullet points. Also, yes, I am fully aware my handwriting is an absolute disaster. Something you're going to learn about artists is the more they draw, the worse their handwriting probably gets, unless they actually work on it. Because you get into such a rhythm of doing things quickly and just making a summation of an idea instead of like fully like realizing that idea. Like, you start doing that with your writing as well. As long as I can understand what I was trying to say, I don't need to worry about like if it's actually legible to anyone else. So it is what it is. But anyway, that is the start of my, I guess not the start of my concepting process, but it is getting all the conceptual ideas. There we go. It's getting all the ideas that I've had just off and on been working on for the last couple years, just written down into a more steady, understandable spot. So yeah, that's it. I don't know. Bye.